This is a quick little trigger warning before we begin, but this video contains mentions of pedophilia, grooming, and the mention of the R word. So if you don't want to listen to that, that's completely fine. Also keep in mind, please do not attack or harass anyone mentioned in this video. I tried my best to keep their identities hidden. As I was looking over, I realized that it's inevitable that people are going to try to find out who these people that I'm talking about are. If you do want to go out looking for them, do not send them hate. Do not harass them. Hey guys, so this is not really the usual type of content that I post. I tend to keep things more lighthearted on this channel, but I can't really ignore this for much longer. This has been a recurring issue that I've refrained from talking about because I've been kind of not afraid per se, but I have been worried that if I did mention any of this, I would get kicked out of the community. And that's not something I really wanted because I have made friends in this community. I've gotten along with people. But I do think that it's more important that I call this out than remain part of a thing that I know is not good. So like any good YouTuber, I'm gonna start off with giving you guys a definition. What is mob mentality? So, mob mentality is the inclination that some humans have to be part of a large group, often neglecting their individual feelings in the process, and adopting behaviors and actions of other people around them. So, why am I bringing this up? Although strange given the community that I'm talking about, this is very apparent in the Sans Fangirl community. Please keep this in mind as I'm going to be mentioning it later on in the video. The Sans Fangirl community is already a niche community based on the Undertale fandom as a whole. This can be one of the explanations as to why Sans Fangirls tend to stick together and make little groups to tighten the community. My personal theory is that because of this, fangirls are more susceptible to falling under mob mentality. There's a tendency among fangirls, specifically in a server that I will not name but I will share screenshots of. There are multiple instances of fangirls discussing another user's content and calling it quote-unquote cringe, simply because they delete their videos multiple times and change their OCs fairly often. This is a quick interjection to not make this video super long, but so in this screenshot we can see that people are making fun of somebody for claiming to have a seizure and forgetting things. They're making light of the situation and claiming that it doesn't sound real, which is fucking disgusting, by the way. You can't just speculate on the mental conditions that people do and do not have. Anyways, back to the regular scheduled content. Which is pretty ironic considering that most fangirls have multiple accounts of various OCs. And there's an extra bit that also makes it extra petty for me. Aren't we all Sans fangirls? Aren't we all cringe? It's pretty hypocritical how fangirls call out other people for shaming us for being cringe, and then they do the exact same thing behind another fangirl's back. Another strange instance is when this user claimed that they would snatch up this person's OC because they'll get bored of it eventually. This is very strange given the context that this all started because people were mad that they were taking heavy inspiration from other people's OCs and not giving credit. Before we go any further in this video, I do want to say that I don't hate any of the people that I'm going to mention. I'm going to censor their usernames for privacy's sake and because I don't want them to be harassed, but they know who they are. And that's the reason I'm making this video, because I want them to correct the things that I personally think that warrant correction. Of course, if they don't agree, that's completely okay. They don't have to take my word for everything. But I'm just trying to point out some things that can harm other users in the community. But what I will call out though is having an NSFW channel in a server mostly filled with minors. Of course, there is a rule about the NSFW channel in the main rules section, and it says the post suggestive art at most, but it's still odd that I, as a 16-year-old, could access it. Don't get me wrong, they're not spreading porn to minors, but they are talking about sexual themes around minors. I'll put up some screenshots and you can make up your mind on if this is predatory or not. I personally don't see it as so, but maybe other people have different opinions, I don't know. Saying in the rules that you're only allowed to use the NSFW channel if you're 13 above, it's pretty weird considering that there's 20-year-olds in the server that would be talking to minors in the same category. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't grooming or pedophilia, so do not call it as such, but it is strange and I think it should be corrected. Speaking of these girls' behaviors, I think it's finally time that I talk about the thing that inspired me to make this video, Dreamy plays. If you're an outside viewer seeing this channel for the first time, you probably are not aware who Dreamy plays is. If you are a Sans Fangirl though, you are very much aware of who they are and you probably do not like them. Fairly so, I'd argue, because that person is inherently awful. Dreamy has been called out for pedophilia and grooming, as well as quote-unquote romanticizing rape. Although I do agree with the first two claims, I don't think we can count Dreamy depicting rape in one of their videos as romanticizing rape. Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with how they portrayed it, but it's not inherently romanticizing it. If you're uncomfortable with the mentions of pedophilia and grooming, I'd recommend that you exit this video. There has been many callouts made over the course of this year for Dreamy, but I think the one that was most poorly handled was the live stream. To put it bluntly, the live stream was really bad. Although the live stream did manage to address a couple of the criticisms and allegations that Dreamy has to their name, most of it just comes across as shit-talking and not giving the proper seriousness that the situation deserved, since this is dealing with grooming and pedophilia. This isn't a simple situation of somebody stealing each other's OCs and then getting pissy that the other person didn't credit them. This is an actual serious situation that has victims involved. The whole handling of the situation really left a sour taste in my mouth, and that's why I'm gonna briefly cover it here. Dreamy Plays is an 18-year-old content creator that makes gacha life content. She was briefly a part of the Sans Fangirl community, making a couple of videos depicting her version of Sans and her OC. The main allegations against her is that she's a pedophile and that she's a groomer, as well as a harasser and that she threatens self-harm and suicide against others. And yes, there is evidence for a lot of these claims, so I'll flash them on screen right now. You can pause to read it. And although most of the evidence is compiled in one specific document, this document is very poorly constructed. Not only is it filled with spelling mistakes, but it is also disorganized and has a lot of evidence that is missing the context, like cropped screenshots. I personally do not support Dreamy, and I do believe the victims when they say that they have been groomed by her. But I also do believe that calling them out on the unplanned live stream with a lot of people talking over each other, making petty comments, and overall making the situation more lighthearted than it actually is, as well as using lackluster cropped screenshots, the whole situation just turns into a huge mess. I have specifically told the people involved in this live stream that it was not a good idea to make it a live stream, and to probably make it a scripted video with more information. They still follow through with making this live stream. Don't get me wrong, I do not support Dreamy at all, but I do think that the people who make this live stream warrant criticism too. This is not diminishing the things that Dreamy has done either, because you can criticize them both at the same time. Just because I agree with one thing doesn't mean I have to inherently disagree with the other. Remember the definition I said for mob mentality at the start of the video? Yeah, this is where it comes into play. A large part of the community has come together to shadow ban people they do not like from the Sans Fangirl community. Which is honestly super sad because the community as a whole is already seen in such a bad light throughout the internet that this makes it even worse. The way in which fangirls want to control who and who cannot join the community is honestly sickening. But even so, all of these flaws can be easily fixed if you guys just take into consideration that you shouldn't be shit-talking people behind their backs. Reach out to people, even if you think they're cringe and annoying. I think that you should give them a chance. Of course, there are some people that are warranted of being kicked out of the community since they shouldn't have a platform to begin with. I'm specifically talking about Dreamy here. But even so, I do think that with all of these flaws, the community is still a wonderful place with wonderful people. So I do not mean to discourage you from joining the community. I think that if you want to make a Sans Fangirl OC, that's awesome and you should go for it. But I do think that you shouldn't fall into this herd mentality that people have. You can join groups, you can join Discord servers, and you can make friends. But please, try to keep an individualist approach when it comes to drama. Because most of the drama is filled by interpersonal relationship struggles. Even if you do choose to defend your friends, that's completely okay, but make the research. It was honestly super hard to find out everything that I needed to make this video. I planned on talking about 2 more specific people in this video, but after coming to terms that I probably won't find any screenshots about their behavior and that people don't really want to share that with me because of their personal struggles with that person, I decided I'd just keep it to Dreamy though. Even so, you as a viewer, you have the responsibility to not go out and attack or harass anyone in this video. If you find out who any of these people are, do not go talk to them about this video. I won't be making any more videos like this, so if you enjoyed it, I'm sorry there's no more content like this for, I hope, forever. Make your own conclusions based on this video. Just be kind about it. Be polite. That's it. Thank you for watching the video. Bye-bye.